The first one comes from Gary Green, so hello Gary, and it's how do the candidates feel CILIP can make use of partnerships to improve the situation of the organisation and its members? I don't think I've started with Sue Westcott, so I'll start with you.
I can't remember. So.
I'm losing track, but yes, over to you.
I think there's two things CILIP can do with partnerships, and partnerships is an interesting word, because it means lots of different things to different people. I think the first thing that it needs to do to broaden out its agenda is actually form partnerships with other professional groups and other like-minded organisations, so that when it does lobbying, it does it more powerfully. And I think that's the way that it can actually help members, but also, meet its obligations. I think also commercially, it should be possible to form partnerships to, bring in income or raise revenue. I know that market is quite weak at the moment, and that actually getting sponsorship for things is not easy, but I think quite often that's because we're not clear about what we're offering, and sometimes what we're offering is not that impressive. I think, like Liz was saying earlier, we're offering sponsorship at a librarians conference that librarians will attend, and you're much more likely to get sponsorship for events if actually it will have a public profile. A friend of mine does some work with the British Association of Psychologists. I'm really sorry if you're a psychologist and I've got that wrong. But they run a media office. They spend a lot of time when they have their conferences getting stuff in the media. So some of it's a bit wild and wacky, some of it is a bit cliched. But that is the purpose of their conference, is actually to draw attention to their organisation. And I think if you can work with other partners in that way, you've got a much better chance of actually building partnerships with like-minded organisations, but also those that might be prepared to sponsor you. That's my turn.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mike, your thoughts, please.
Yes, I mean, this is, I think, quite complex, because depending on which bit of the library footprint you're in, I think the partnerships might well vary quite significantly. Focusing on the public area initially, clearly one of the crucial partnerships we've got to develop is with the Arts Council. And I'm not quite sure how and where and what we develop that. But we certainly must and need to put some considerable effort into that. I was very conscious, being on the NIACE, National Institute of Adult and Continuing Education, and the MLA Digital Working Group, that we weren't, for example, promoting libraries so strongly with NIACE as we should, in terms as the home of digital learning. It was very much, NIACE was saying, we can deliver digital learning in different ways. And so we really do have to develop and make use of partnerships and make sure that we're developing that shared common interest and agenda, as, for example, we've sought to do for a long time with the BBC. But again, it seems to be come and go, never seems to be an ongoing and a strong working relationship that can go forward. So I suppose the thing I would say is we've got to be clear about what we do, what we can offer, what's in it for both partners or for all three partners, and we need to do it consistently and stick at it.
Thanks, Mike. On to you, Maria.
Leading on from where Mike said, yes, partnerships, very important, but the key thing is to listen to what your partner needs. So establishing partnership with other bodies based on what we need in CILIP might not be successful if we don't understand exactly what we can offer. And this, I think, is probably what you were trying to say as well. And I think we have to establish partnerships, or try to establish partnerships, not only with our natural allies, but also with people who are perceived as our enemies at the moment. For example, publishers, that comes to my mind, for the big copyright agenda that is happening at the moment. So we need to start establishing relationships first with them and being able to communicate with them and to sit at the same tables. I know CILIP has contributed to the copyright agenda quite well through LACA, the Copyright Alliance, the British Library. They're doing good things. Some publishers are already sitting at the same tables, but I think that we need to use our strategic ideas and perhaps think not only about natural partners, but about those that are really perceived as enemies, as I said, which are the ones I really need. And then again, I mentioned this earlier, partnerships with international bodies, being far more active and doing things for and on behalf of a bleeder as our European voice, and IFLA as our international voice, and making sure that we understand the role that we play there as a strong library association. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Maria. Sorry. Over to you, Liz.
I think we need to be back to basics and do what we're supposed to be good at. And by that I mean we ought to be building a knowledge base of key relevant partners that we want to target. People that we can sign up proper partnership agreements, and in fact, or something like a charter for partnership with CILIP. And by that I mean people like I've said earlier, people from regeneration, social policy, academia, the NHS. I think as a board we would need to target who do we want as key partners, who can help us raise our profile and understand the role that libraries can play in the future. I think we need to also target horizontally, I feel like, people like Children First, national organisations, Age UK, YouthLink, people like Mumsnet. We need to sell what libraries are doing or can do to those partners. I think we need to be choosy about the partners that we want, and we need to develop, before we go out to them, some sort of partnership agreement, some sort of sign up to a charter, and understand what we want from those partnerships before we do anything at all about it. That's it.
Thank you very much. And Sue Cook.
I think if we're looking for partners in our own likeness, we're not going to find them, because actually, CILIP is an organisation which has a particular role. But thinking about it in the wider sense, if you think of CILIP as the hub of a network, you've got the branch and group network. You look at the partnerships that individual groups and branches have established. You get a much wider picture of the sort of people that we can make relationships with. And we can do this at several levels, I think. Yes, I agree. I think it's really important that we do look for people at strategic level who they can raise our profile, we can raise theirs. But there are also the more local and the more regional partnerships which are very important. I think we've also got to be prepared that partnerships don't last forever, and that there'll be times when we come together, like Mike says with the BBC. There's times when, it's good to work with the BBC, and there's times when perhaps we're not so relevant to them. So we have to be prepared for that fact that it will be not a solid situation, that things will be flexible, if you like. But in principle, I think partnerships are the key to an awful lot of things, and I would be as opportunistic as possible. But again, you come back to the fact that we have to let the partners know, the same as we let the membership know, what it is we are offering, because if there's nothing in it for them that they can latch onto instantly, you've got that very, very small window to sell your product and to convince people and get them interested. And we're not doing that awfully well at the moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for answering that. We'll move swiftly on.
Mark, can I just say one
yes,
other thing?
of course
Sorry,
you can.
very quickly.
Of course.
Sorry to prolong that, but I was just thinking, 25% of CILIP's membership is in HE. So clearly we're very, very successful in terms of HE. Yet we also talk about the significant decline in FE college libraries, in school libraries, etc. So it does strike me that one of the partnerships we've really got to work through is with educationalists in the education sector, and that needs some thought.
Has anyone else got another comment before I move on?
Can I comment on that? I think I like what Mike had to say there, but that goes back to something we talked about earlier, that in HE they really value the charter, and people in a lot of key positions have to have a charter and value it, I think, a bit more than it does is in the public sector.
No.
Okay. Super.